Women lead. We lead wherever we are placed, wherever we are positioned. We are thriving. Welcome to the Public Health Roundtable Live. Whether you're live or watching the replay, this is going to be a great conversation. Our topic today is really women's equality, which is a very broad topic, but we're going to niche it down a little bit and have a really good conversation. We're going to do some introductions. So you're like, who are these people on the screen? I'm going to do some introductions, and then we will dive into the topic. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley. I am a public health entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Dr. C.H. Huntley, LLC, which is a epidemiology consulting firm. We support large nonprofit organizations that serve BIPOC communities, and we support them by helping them communicate their health data to the communities that they serve using plain language. So how we show up looks very different depending on the needs of the organization, but that is the heart and soul of what we do. In addition to that, I am the host of the Public Health Epidemiology Conversations podcast. So we have brand new episodes every week. There's a lot of different things that I'm actually involved in, but that's the core of what I do. And I plan to share with you something very specific to women that is kind of new, and I'll tease it right there, but I'll tell you more about that as we continue with our discussion. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Dr. Dixon. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me. This is my first roundtable to get to share with y'all, so I'm very excited. My name is Dr. Ginger Dixon. I'm an epidemiologist and owner and founder of One Life Epi Solutions. At One Life Epi Solutions, we focus on protecting our future generations through data and education. So we do, consulting, specializing in One Health, but then we also help folks to understand their data, collect their data, really relevant for what we're talking about today, how to incorporate those vulnerable communities, those people that are left out, and those insights that sometimes get left out. And then with One Health, we're really looking at that intersection between the environment and animal health and human health, which is, actually works its way into a lot of the things that we do in public health and environmental things. And so that is a nutshell about what we do. We also do youth education for One Health. We have our One Health Kids program. We host a podcast called One Health Wednesdays, where we, get insight and experiences and journeys from different professionals across One Health fields. I'm going to summarize and wrap up there. Charlotte said we've got a lot of things going on. We've got a lot of projects going on, especially right now. We've been really focused on empowering ourselves as public health professionals through, challenging times. We're going to say challenging times, and really focusing on community and what we can do to pull together and get our data, available and available for the folks that need it. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk today.
Oh, thank you. That was a great introduction. So let's pass it over to Erica. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Erica Horn. I am the CEO and founder of Akiri Consulting, and I get the opportunity to work with organizations, businesses, nonprofits, faith-based organizations with regards to program planning, implementation of different events, health programs, specifically working and designing things for organizations with them in mind. So our goal is to provide solutions with you being your specific organization in mind with regards to whatever it is that you're focused on. We do a lot around faith-based organizations and providing speaking engagements and planning for health events, health fairs, symposiums, panels, and just bringing a level of understanding back to the community so that they can receive the information they need to live long and healthy lives. And I'm super excited to be here today to talk about our topic around women's equality and how we get to do that and show up for our community. Thank you, Dr. Huntley.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I know you've been on the roundtable plenty of times, and I feel like people's like, well, I know her, but a lot of people on LinkedIn and a lot of people listening that are new to the podcast or new to this roundtable discussion. So thank you for that wonderful introduction, and welcome, Dr. Dixon. We're happy to have you join on the conversation as well. I want to speak just for a brief moment about International Women's Day, which is coming up. Like I said, at the time of this recording, we're live on March 5th. International Women's Day is March 8th. So just a few days down the road. And the focus this year is accelerate action. And I'm just going to briefly touch on this because they share some, you can, look this up in detail for yourself, but just briefly, it's just some key ways to accelerate action for gender equality. And one is enforce legal and policy reforms. That's one way that we can dive in. And some of my advocacy folks are already, knee deep into that. Promoting economic empowerment is another way. Enable education and skill development. Increase women's leadership and representation, combat gender-based violence and discrimination, and use technology for inclusion, and then forge global collaboration and advocacy. And each of these, they do a deeper dive. This is at internationalwomensday.com, in case you're wondering. But I just wanted to touch on a few of those as you start to think about this. The question for our discussion today that I'm going to pass around the mic and ask each of our panelists to share a response. And each of you that are joining us, I'm asking you to also share in the comments a response to this question. So it's not just for the panelists, it's for all of you who are joining us to make the conversation really rich. So the question is, in what ways are you taking action to address systemic barriers, social norms, and power dynamics to accelerate action toward women's equality? That's a very robust question. You don't necessarily have to be doing all of those things, but essentially, in what ways are you taking action to address, the barriers, challenges, and accelerate action toward women's equality? I will definitely share first because it's one of the things I teased about when I introduced myself and said something new that I have coming up. There's a new initiative that I think was probably starting to come together at the end of 2023. So this has been a long time coming, and we're about to roll it out. In fact, we're in that phase right now. It is a community that focuses on the health of women. So specifically BIPOC women, so Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, and their allies. And I think that is a great way to summarize the energy and the type of people that I imagine coming together. This organization is looking to bring together this rich community that prioritizes the voices of women. It's going to be led by a team of public health professionals and experts on health-related topics so that these women can get answers to the questions that they seek around their health issues. And this is extremely important because as we look to how women have served historically, women are, even back when we were suppressed in the background, and some may argue we're still being suppressed in the back, we're fighting that fight. But women lead. We lead wherever we are placed, wherever we are positioned. We are thriving, whether it's the background, the forefront, wherever it is, we're thriving. We're leading our families, our communities. Sometimes we're the influences of, with our friends and our peer groups. So I believe that when we pour into women, then everyone wins, right? And then why BIPOC women and their allies? Well, BIPOC women are, historically marginalized, hit first, hit hardest, suffer the greatest. So it's rich ground to pour into. And then our allies are those who understand it and get it, want to leverage what they know and really partner, lock arms with BIPOC women. So that is the all of it in a nutshell. But it is that piece of amplifying those voices and also bringing that community together and pouring in truth based in science, and feeding that truth allows women we don't need to tell people what to do. We just need to inform them with real truth and kind of demystify and kind of counter the misinformation. And then this empowers, women to be able to make decisions based on truth and solids and science and lead their families and influence their friends in the right direction. Right now, things are so confusing regarding health that people don't even know what trusted resources are. And so many of them are disappearing. So this is also very timely. So if you're curious about all of that, you can always send me a direct message and I'll certainly share with you. But it's called I Bet Community, and every letter has a specific meaning. So I is for inspiring, B is for being as a complete sentence, E is for encouraging, and the T is for taking up all the spaces. I love that part. And I'll say one more thing on this too. I was able to sit in on a webinar. So they were live streaming from an event that's happening right now in Washington, D.C., where a dear colleague, someone I really admire and friend, was speaking. So I was able to watch her speak. And she is someone that she is a strong Indigenous woman. She is passionate and spiritual and a very powerful speaker. and she spoke on for about 30 minutes. And I was just, every time I hear her speak, it's like getting a jolt and getting recharged. So you're getting a little extra energy from me this morning because I'm standing on some giants right now, but she was just amazing and inspiring. And I thought that kind of energy is what's fueling this new community that I just shared with you. So I'm feeling all the positive energy around women and empowering women and strengthening and supporting women right now. So on that note, a little long-winded this time around, but I'm going to pass over to Dr. Dixon. And just to kind of restate the question for you, in what ways are you taking action to address systemic barriers, social norms, and power dynamics to accelerate action toward women's equality?
Thank you. And I just wanted to share real quick. I am so excited for IBET as well, because I think one of the biggest things that we have as women is this community. Like I cannot even express how much this community of women have helped me throughout my journey in life, and this immediate community at this roundtable included. So, I think there's the personal side, right? As a woman, I've had a lot of experiences through, being victimized as a woman, going through different traumas that are very unique to women, like being in a situation where you're all of a sudden, raising children on your own, or, trying to leave dangerous situations. And so I think speaking to not the trauma, but the strength and the resilience that I've found through that, and that I've found through myself as a woman, and to still get to this place in my life where I wanted to be, like way back when I was a kid, you go through all this stuff, but, women, I think, have this just amazing heart and resilience, and that brings us through, all those things. And as a leader and as a woman, I think really tapping into that growing it for myself, and then sharing it and modeling it for others, and encouraging and supporting others goes a long way. And then I love how you're using this empowerment, like that's the goal. We want to show that we are thriving and we are incredible, resilient, powerful women. And I think really reminding ourselves of that, both, in our personal and our professional communities, and lifting each other up goes a long way towards really furthering that equality narrative. And then with, through our network at One Life Epi, we have an incredible network of women, and really, and again, just pushing them forward, and celebrating the work that they're doing and how they're leaders, and especially through the podcast and One Health Wednesdays, getting to really just showcase how awesome and amazing they are has been just really rewarding, and I think an important way that we're driving change for women's equality as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it breaks my heart to hear, that about your experience. And it's in a sense of, that personal, the bit that you were vulnerable to share. But, that is also resonates with a lot of people. You think about our journey is really what propels us forward, builds that resilience. And it's just, sometimes it's like, why do we have to go through all this? This is exhausting. But at the same time, I think that's what is so awe-inspiring when you get a group of women together and we start opening up and sharing stories. We realize that we're doing so many amazing things all the time. And it's just kind of normal that we're doing all this. But that's also why I want to pour into women, because I also want to normalize how we support each other and care for each other in that sense as well. So Erica, please share on the same question. In what ways are you taking action to address systemic barriers, social norms, and power dynamics to accelerate action toward women's equality?
Thank you for the question. This question it resonates a lot, similar, as Dr. Dixon mentioned about just being a woman and all the different things that we can face. I think the main thing for me that is priority is actually showing up. And so for me, it's showing up and being the example so that others see that it's possible. And I'm able to serve as a mentor to young ladies. Locally, I'm a part of a mentoring organization, and we mentor young ladies to encourage them, to show them that, what they have in mind is achievable. Last week, I was invited to be a mentor for a STEM day for women and girls in our county for, K through 12. And just being able to share, my experience with them and encourage them that, everything that they want to be able to do is attainable. And then being able to see someone who looks like them as an example of what's possible. I think just showing up is key. And as we continue to show up and continue to fight, that is how we show others, and we can advocate by being that face, being that voice that they haven't seen before. So when we see behaviors modeled, then it's something that seems attainable. And if you're, when they're young, when young ladies are young, they're modeling the behaviors they see. And so for me, it's important to model those behaviors, like show up, be active. I'm very active in community. I sit on different boards locally, in my state and nationally. And just being able to say, oh, yes, I did this as well. Oh, yes, I've done this too. Oh, yes, you can have multiple different interests and pursue them all. And letting them know that it's possible is one of the biggest things for me when it comes to the key strategy to be able to fight for women's equality. And showing up in rooms that typically, I would not be invited to, still show up anyways. And I think that's really important because a lot of times we're scared to show up, or people see they haven't seen someone in those spaces. They haven't seen someone in those rooms. They may not have seen a woman entrepreneur. They may not have seen a woman as a minister. They may not have seen a woman with a doctorate degree. They may not have seen all these things. And so I take it as, pride. I'm humbled, and prideful at the same time to be able to attack all these different barriers that should have been what kept me out of rooms, and then showing up and then excelling in those spaces and taking them to the next level to allow others to see my value. And when they see my value, then they can then say, oh, there is value to this, and they're willing to do it. Practically, I know a lot of people may, especially women, may deal with, confidence and low self-esteem, and dealing with those different issues can be hard. But one thing I learned as a model, so I modeled some time as well, and we learned about confidence. We learned about keeping your head held high and increasing self-esteem and being able to encourage others and empower them, regardless of where they're at, that they can too still do something, that they're valuable, that they're important. And so just hearing those words, knowing that you are important, knowing that you are valued, is all the encouragement sometimes somebody needs in order to say, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to push ahead. Even though I've never seen it before, I'm going to keep pushing because I've seen someone else do it in their space. So even if it's not necessarily in public health, whether it's in engineering or whether it's in mathematics, they're seeing encouragement from somebody else who looks like them going to the highest heights. And so my main strategy is showing up and encouraging others that they too can do it, and then excelling in all the things that I get to do. So yeah, that's really how I show up. That's how I strategize. And then I encourage others, and I'm right there behind them, pushing them, telling them they're doing a great job. And I know how important words of affirmation may be, especially for increasing strength and increasing their faith in doing something. So affirming people, encouraging people that they too can do it is also very key for me when it comes to achieving women's equality.
Love that. So many pieces of that. Showing up. That's huge. And sometimes that helps us to kind of, I say this phrase a lot, get out of our own way, when we need to do something. When I started doing these roundtables and getting ready to be on camera or being, doing a live stream, it's not about me. So if I'm feeling some kind of way about doing it, it's about showing up for somebody else who may watch this and feel inspired. And in our day right now, we can take all the inspiration that is, being handed to us, whether it's for our public health colleagues or women. I think that we can always make room for a few words that encourage us, or presence, people that show up and speak to us in the ways that you all have shared today. So this is really great. I also like how you, as a model, modeled this behavior. But, I think about you every time I have to take a photo, I kind of have to reposition myself because of what, Erica showed us to do. And so I have been a recipient of that. So yes, thank you for that reminder and that example and just for, how you're showing up. That's wonderful. I'm going to pass the mic back around because you guys have shared quite a bit. I'm going to give you a chance to, kind of share another kind of final thought as we begin to wrap up. Dr. Dixon, any final thoughts or words from you?
Yeah, I've also been the proud recipient of Erica's model confidence training. And she is just a very empowering, just confident ray of sunshine. And I, thank you. Now I know how to pose. But aside from that, yes, I love just, again, the way that y'all are focusing on, rewriting this narrative around women and women's equality, because what we should really be telling is the story of, our strength and the drive. And I just can name off so many just incredible examples of women who, as Erica said, just they show up, they're doing it, and they're doing an amazing job of it. And I think, continuing to, as you're doing, Dr. Huntley, getting those voices and reaching out to those women whose, voices need to be at the table, right? And sometimes that's making a place at the table for ourselves. I have done that a few times in my career as well, where I'm like, hey, I should be there. I'm just letting you know, you didn't invite me, but you need me there. Trust me. So having that confidence in ourselves and what we can bring, and what we can do at the table is absolutely paramount as we go on this journey with ourselves. So that's my final thoughts for that part.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I think I'm going to start inviting myself to more tables too.
Yeah.
Showing up, yeah, I'm going to take
Here's
this
my
seat.
name tag.
There you go. So final thoughts for you, Erica.
I thoroughly enjoyed today's conversation. I appreciate what each of you have shared with regards to even just the development of this community, the IBEC community. I know it's going to continue to be great because it's needed in this time, and how Dr. Dixon just shows up in all the different areas, and for sharing, about yourself, about your business. I think for me, a lasting thing that comes to mind is just knowing that we can all support each other in our different ways of fighting for women's equality without harming each other. It's so common and so easy for women to, sometimes they may become jealous, or they look at what somebody else has got going on, and instead of being empowered, or become envious of it. But I just want to encourage people that, just because somebody else may have something doesn't mean that you too can't have it, and that there's enough for everyone in the world. And the more we encourage each other, the more opportunities that there will be for women, so that we can actually start breaking down these barriers that exist when it comes to women's equality and the different spaces that we're in. So I just want to send that encouragement, show up to those tables, be free to be yourself, be confident, and then actually support one another. And you'll realize how much more opportunities do come your way. So that's my last minute takeaway.
Yeah, I love that. This has been such a great conversation, but this is really a conversation starter. And let's just keep it going. I think that I'd love to hear from others. How are you showing up? What are you doing to kind of, heighten this awareness for women and highlight women and uplift women? Share that in the comments as we continue to go throughout this week and month as well. All of our names here on the screen. So if you're not following us or connected with us here on LinkedIn, make sure that you connect with us. If you're interested in hearing more about any of our business opportunities or how we support each other, or potential for supporting, then, don't be shy to reach out. So that's definitely something I like for you to do as we network with each other. So this has been fantastic. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today and for all that you do and for the ways that you have dropped some gold nuggets here in this last 30 minutes that we've been together. I appreciate you all. And thank you all for joining us in the audience for the live as well as the replay. We'll see you next month on the Roundtable Live. Bye.